As it relates to the consent decree, at what stage are we in the process now? At what stage?
Burning questions tonight from some Louisville residents about the looming consent decree and the path forward for the city and the LMPD. Tonight, the Department of Justice laid out its progress in that consent decree with the city and Louisville and the Metro Police Department. It's been a year since the Attorney General announced the consent decree, and community members had some very specific questions for DOJ officials. The night team's Alex Dieterer and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie were front and center as community members told the DOJ that they are tired of waiting for answers.
Hearing from Louisville residents about what LMPD reform they want to see in the federal consent decree.
I'm hoping we can get some solutions here, you know? If not, what's the point?
The Department of Justice held its 5th community meeting, hoping to get closer to an answer.
But at this stage of the ball game, we're looking for some specifics. What has been agreed to, what has not been agreed to, what's the implementation, all of that, any consideration for who the monitor is going to be.
Raymond Burse is the vice president for the Louisville branch of the NAACP. He's been at every DOJ community meeting.
You know, the NAACP has been sort of a watchdog in terms of things that would happen with LMPD for a number of years, and so when the DOJ issued their report, we've continued to monitor it.
Community members, including Burse, addressed DOJ officials face to face. They asked specific questions about heightened accountability within the department and for individual officers, cross-training and DEI professional development, and community advisory boards.
Louisville is so stratified geographically is that we don't have interactions across communities, and so these advisory groups, I think, should be cross-community groups because different people bring different perspectives to the table as they look at things.
Now, the question on everyone's mind right now is what stage is Louisville in with the consent decree? Tonight, the DOJ said that right now they are in active negotiations with the city.
Well, I knew you've been in negotiations for a while.
Yes.
So, yeah.
The federal consent decree was announced last March, over a year ago. While Louisvillians are eager to get to the finish line with the implementation that will require reforms within LMPD, Burse wants to make sure the community is involved every step of the way.
Prior to the consent decree going to being presented to a judge, will the community have an opportunity to comment on it?
Not before it goes to the judge.
So we're out of luck.
In Louisville with photojournalist Elijah McKenzie, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS11 night team on your side.
So if you have questions or feedback regarding the consent decree, there is a toll-free number. It's on your screen right now. The number 844-920-1460. Kentucky State Police troopers are using cadaver dogs in the ongoing search for missing 8-month-old Maya Rudd. The infant was reported missing on Thursday of last week after her parents and grandparents were arrested on drug charges. Today, Kentucky State Police confirmed they focused on a cemetery not far from her parents' home in Reynolds Station, Kentucky. That's about 90 miles southwest of Louisville. Police say forensic interviews and tips led them to that location. They also say family members in custody have not been helpful in the search for the baby.
You know, sadly, the spirit of our investigators today, we have been very hopeful and optimistic, but the longer this goes on, the more grim the outcome is likely.
If you have any information on where this little girl might be, you're urged to call KSB Post 16 with tips. That number is 270-826-3312. A fiery crash in Old Louisville shut down a ramen restaurant and left some people homeless. That happened Friday in Old Louisville. Tonight, the night team's Taylor Woods is talking to one woman who is starting the process of rebuilding her life for the second time in less than 2 years.
I don't know when I look at it. My windows are broken, and that was my home I had built.
It's still hard for Kristen Groover to process what happened last Friday. She lost everything inside of her studio apartment in Old Louisville when a car sped through a stoplight and hit a tree. The driver died when the vehicle went up in flames, causing the building where she lives to catch fire. Groover lives on the 2nd floor, and there's a ramen restaurant on the 1st floor.
I looked at my phone, and there was missed calls from my landlord and a text message that said the building is, the building was on fire.
Groover rushed home, thinking about everything from her cat to everything she owned. Luckily, firefighters found the cat hiding in another apartment. She says it feels unreal, especially considering she just left the apartment 2 minutes before the crash.
So I was stopped here, and that is where he came through.
Groover came to Louisville from New York a year and a half ago to rebuild. She was only carrying one duffel bag. Now she's forced to rebuild again. Clothes, furniture, and a new place to call home.
It was my first space of just my very own, and it was the colors I wanted, the designs I wanted, and now it's gone. The thought of that could have been me. Like, it could have been so much worse, especially with that kind of timing difference.
In Louisville, Taylor Woods, WHAS11 Night Team on your side.
And there is a GoFundMe account set up to help here. We do have that link for you on our website, WHAS11.com. All right, so Colleen, you and I did the morning show together for about 2 years.
We did.
So 11 p.m. is not a time that existed for us. But I got to tell you, there's something about this night work because it's 70 degrees outside. It feels fantastic.
It feels great.
And I can't wait to get out of here and go outside.
I know, right? You're a night owl now. Welcome to the dark side. It is going to be another great day tomorrow. Eric, the only thing that we're going to be concerned with is the air quality. Now, typically in the summertime, we get the ozone a little bit closer to the surface, which is what causes some of that gray tint in the sky. In fact, we're under a code orange for tomorrow, and not all the communities, and only a few spots, but it does include Jefferson County and especially southern Indiana. Right now, we're at 70 degrees, holding on to it. I think we're going to cool off here any moment now. 63 at Bowman, 58 at Fort Knox. Feeling nice, comfortable. Relative humidity levels today, around 20 to 30%. That is very dry for June. I'm just going to leave it at that. This might be one of the best weeks of weather that we're going to see all month long. So really enjoy that forecast. Waking up to the 50s tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be in the mid 70s around lunchtime. A tad bit warmer though. Not going to stay in the 70s tomorrow. We are going to get to 85 degrees, mostly sunny skies in store. So temperature trend, we are warming up. Going to be getting to the 90s by Thursday, then mid 90s Sunday into Monday. I did talk about a few communities in that forecast for that air quality alert. I will show you the map and break down which communities could be impacted coming up. Eric.
All right, Colleen, thank you. So we've got an update for you on the Crystal Rogers case out of Bardstown. There's a hearing set for Thursday morning, but we've learned Steve Lawson will be the only defendant there. Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson have been excused from court. That hearing will now focus solely on Steve Lawson's motion to dismiss the charges against him. His attorney plans to present evidence that his client was granted immunity when he agreed to talk to police. According to court documents, prosecutors have no intention of dropping the charges, but instead will exclude certain conversations where immunity was mentioned. Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson will be back in court in July. That's when the prosecutor will push to combine the three cases into one trial. All three defendants have objected to that motion. Now to the local conversation about medicinal marijuana. A Metro Council committee is trying to decide whether it can be grown and sold in Jefferson County, or exactly where in the county it can be grown and sold. The city's Planning and Zoning Committee heard the proposed policy today. Right now, the state bans dispensaries within 1,000 feet of schools and child care facilities, but the council could choose to add more prohibited locations like near parks or churches. So that led to a lot of questions, so many that the committee had to table it so members could sort through them all. But the clock is ticking here. The licensing period for the new businesses is set to start July 1st, and without these regulations passed, those locations cannot be selected.
And I am so sick of seeing these situations come so fast, and our public don't get a chance to comment. I don't get a chance to comment. I didn't get to see this until the other day. There's a lot of things in this thing that needs to be stricken. I'd like to take no action, but I hope this committee will at least table this thing until we can make some sense out of it and come back with some better answers.
And that's exactly what they did. We'll tell you the business licenses are based on a lottery selection. In Jefferson County, only 2 dispensary locations will be granted licenses. A warning now from the local FBI field office. As much as we try to avoid suspicious calls and texts, scammers, they're just getting smarter. And the FBI says one community is being targeted more than others. Jose Alonso reports the department is stressing the importance of checking on your elderly neighbors.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation says the elderly community within the state of Kentucky are some of the most vulnerable when it comes to financial scams. Just in 2023 alone, they reported $12.8 million in losses. And as we reach the halfway point in 2024, they are already reporting $12.7 million in losses. That's raising a red flag to the department. The FBI says people over the age of 60 are being targeted by scammers, especially since they are financially stable and not very tech savvy. They can also be lonely and have assets like homes they can sell. Last year, the department's Internet Crimes Complaint Center reported $3.4 billion in losses across the country for this group.
As we work with our local police departments, state, local, federal partners are all working together to try to make the elderly community more safe. The DOJ has started an initiative called the Elder Justice Initiative, and that's specifically to coordinate law enforcement efforts on fraudsters who are targeting the elderly.
The FBI says scammers go as far as impersonating bankers, grandchildren, or even government agents. Other tactics include creating a romantic relationship on dating websites to build relationships with a victim and then ask for money. In Louisville, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 on your side.
The reality here is the problem is even bigger than the numbers imply. The department says a lot of these scams go unreported because victims feel embarrassed. So if you end up being scammed, you are encouraged to call your local police department or even the FBI office. Reporting a scam helps them navigate where the money went and can potentially lead to an arrest of several people. And that's not the only scam warning that we have for you tonight. Indiana State Police say scammers are using church directories to call members of the congregation and ask for money. They're pretending to be the pastor of churches and asking for gift cards. They claim those gift cards are for those in need. Police say gift cards are a common red flag when it comes to scams. If someone contacts you unexpectedly to donate, take your time and do research before paying out any money. The Norton West Louisville Hospital is set to open in just a matter of months, and it needs to hire staff members. Earlier today, the hospital led a job fair to fill more than 300 positions. Those positions range from engineering to nursing to security. We talked to two brothers who were there looking for some new opportunities in food service, and they called the job fair a great opportunity for young people in West Louisville particularly.
Got young kids out here fighting for their lives or anything, cancer. You got people out here for
gun violence and all of. And this is a way to bring everybody together and do something big for the West End.
They also said they're happy people in the area will have better access to medical care. That hospital is expected to open in November.